Ely, thank you for accepting this interview for Euronews Romania. The first question concerns what happened in Iran. As an expert on Middle East and well acquainted with the regime in Tehran, please tell us who you think was behind these terrorist attacks.
It's a huge event in Iran. First of all, because of the symbolism of the place, is the tomb of General Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Quds force of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, which was killed by an operation of the Americans in 2020. And he was the architect of all the strategy, regional strategy of Iran's regime in Syria, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Yemen, and in the Palestinian territories. So he was a very important, and even today his figure is very important. Now, we don't have sufficient elements to say who was behind, but there are suspects. First of all, I don't know how much the public in Romania knows that in 2017, ISIS or Daesh organized a huge operation in Tehran, where they attacked and bombed the tomb, the mausoleum of Ayatollah Khomeini, which was the founder of the Islamic Republic, and also the parliament. They fought inside the parliament against the police and the IRGC forces. And it appeared that this was a Daesh operation or ISIS operation. But all the members of this group or this commando were of Kurdish origin. And people don't know even today that in the Kurdish province of Iran, which is a big province, for many years there is a guerrilla movement, actually perhaps more than one movement and group, which act against the regime because of the domination and the fact that the regime does not take in consideration the needs of the Kurdish population, including the attempt of independence. So the Kurds used Daesh in order to attack the Tehran regime. The other suspect are the Baluchis. The Baluchis, which live in a province in the eastern part of Iran, on the border with Pakistan. They are also population, a nationalist group that are fighting the regime, again, because they consider the regime a colonialist regime. So there were a period when there were a lot of terrorist acts of these groups inside Iran, mainly in the east. And there is a third group, which are the Arabs, which live in the southwest Persia or Iran, and they also fight for their autonomy, at least, or independence. And by the way, we must understand that the situation in Iran is worse than the situation in Syria. 55% of the population in Iran, only 55% are Persians. All the rest are either Kurds, Arabs, and Baluchis, which are Sunnis, and there is a big minority of Azeris, which live in the north, and they are Shias, but they also strive to some kind of autonomy. So the Arabs, by the way, in 2017, 2018, the Tehran regime killed several leaders of this opposition in Europe. In Netherlands, 2 leaders were killed, and they tried also to kill leaders in Denmark and in Norway. So they had also reason to revenge this kind of attacks by the regime against their leaders. There's also reason that they will accuse Israel to be behind it, because it's easier to present Israel and not the real minorities fighting the regime.
It's quite interesting because all these rebellion of minorities in Iran overlap with the protest movements of the Iranian population itself. And here I'm referring to the protest of young Iranians who want to get rid of the Islamic regime in Tehran.
It's interesting that the huge wave of women protests 1 year, 2 years ago after the assassination of one beautiful young woman by the police, began in the Kurdish territory because she was from Kurdistan, Iranian Kurdistan, and then it spread all over Iran. But unfortunately, the repression, very harsh repression, not only against women but even against young girls and pupils, by the regime, stopped or diminished, minimized the influence of this movement. It can return at any moment.
Ely Karmon, thank you very much.